Okay, so here we've got a Minn Kota little trolling motor, father-in-law's motor here, and it's not working, he says. So we're gonna give it a whirl, figure out exactly maybe what the problem is here, and see if we can't fix it. So Minn Kota Endura C2, 55 pounds of thrust over 12 volts. I don't know how they measure thrust, however. There it is, and hardwired directly into the battery. I don't know if these things have an internal fuse or not, but I guess we'll find out here shortly. There's the stamp. CE, more commonly known as Chinese import. Okay, so we've got it hooked up here, so we'll just try it. Setting 1, nothing. 2, 3, 4, 5. So he did say that he was able to get a little bit of something between 1 and 2, but I don't know. These things sit in the water, get corroded. You never know what's gonna happen with them. We'll see. They're I don't know how it's gonna come apart either. They're quite often like a Chinese finger trap. You put them on, the only way to get them back off is usually to cut them. So we'll see how far we get here. Okay, so we got the top off. Interesting little design here. Obviously some kind of a little sliding switch based on resistance, something like that. Quite obvious. We had some water in there. I don't know if that's rust or if that's just simply the type of crap that was in there, but we'll test some connections here and maybe dive into the switch. So in between a bunch of different things here anyways, playing around with the multimeter, checking out the connections between everything here, it looks like the switch is good, which is I guess a good thing. I mean, if you had to replace a switch, I don't know if you can order it. I don't see any particular number on this thing, but I don't know, maybe a person could order it. I don't know. I'd almost be tempted just to hardwire the sucker right in with a couple different switches and, lend it out to a buddy and see if he doesn't accidentally fry himself or something. But anyway, so I guess we're down into the motor. We'll see what happens. Have to check the rest of the wires on the way down. Make sure there's not some other connections broken, whatever happens to be there. So we'll on to the next part here. We'll see what happens. Okay, so we got the prop off, fairly straightforward there. Taking out these last 2 bolts here, and really quickly, not a good sign. These bolts straight on through the motors in here. Look at all that. See all that rust. So more than likely, probably shorted out on the inside. Okay, so here's the chocolatey mess. So what we saw over here was probably a symptom somehow of this. Now I don't know if this is connected. This pipe is connected all the way through here. Wires are going through, so it probably is. So somewhere along here, there's a seal that's gone. I mean, this one here so far looks good. Let's see. Fight these magnets. Sometimes this comes off here. It's almost easier just to, yeah. Oh my god, all over my workbench. Look at that schmoo everywhere. Okay, there's quite clearly the problem. Look at that. The electric and water just don't mix. So yeah, we'll clean it up here and see what we can't do. Okay, so we fought the permanent magnets on the inside there. They're gigantic. I don't know if they're so big because this thing's steel, to add some additional weight because it's a motor. Anyways, here's the motor. I mean, it's pretty good. I guess this thing hums all day, but wow, what a mess. Seal bearing still good, so we'll wash her up here, give it a clean, dry it out, and then try putting her back together. But Well, since I'm putting it back together, we can't diagnose where it's leaking from. Otherwise, you know, we'll just be in the same position again here. Dead in the water. Okay, so we've got this set up here. I thought I'd just point out that, you know, going through this, we started with these, you know, Phillips screws, and all of a sudden now we're into the Torx in the bottom of the motor here with the brushes. You know, these things are always a pain in the ass too to put back together. You gotta somehow figure out how to slide, you know, the magnets, you know, with the motor back in there, and, you know, not mess up the brushes. And I don't know, the brushes are always pushing in on themselves. I'm sure there's some retainer that you can get to, you know, to keep these things apart, and then, you know, slide them out once it's all there. But anyways, I don't know, we'll figure it out. So here we are a couple days later, you know, got the motor all dried out, put it back together. Figured I'd just, you know, give it a bit of a test go while I was awaiting some parts. So I ordered a couple of parts there, some new bushings on the bottom. You know, the water was more than likely sort of leaking in around the bushing here, worn out, just a matter of time. However, put it back together, hooked it up, and yeah, it didn't work. So upon further inspection and redoing all my test connections, you know, on the switch, turned out all my connections I was testing was running through one of the grounds here, the one that happened to be easiest to reach when I was testing all the other connections. This was the ground directly coming in from the battery. What I had failed to test was the actual ground here, which was you know, coming through the switch and back out, heading back down to the motor. So once I figured out that it wasn't connecting between the two, when it was in the on position, I decided, you know, what the hell, get in there with a screwdriver, crack this thing open, and sure enough, you can see that right there, she was cooked in there. So rather than kind of burning out through on the positive side, which is where these things normally do, she burnt out on the negative side, and burnt it out good. Anyway, so back online, ordered another part, you know, 20 some odd bucks Canadian, shipped out of the States, somewhere just, you know, south of the border, wherever. Anyways, I got the part coming in. It's the father-in-law's motor. Last person I want to leave stranded in the middle of the lake is the father-in-law. So we'll get a new part in there, get her back together, and should be good to go.